Hi, this is Margaret Maloney, and welcome to the Death Dhamma podcast. Together we will consider life, death, and impermanence. Because in between birth and death, we lose things. Not just our glasses and our keys. We lose identities, relationships, ideas, and more. But what we can gain right now is facing this together, and we will gain freedom, peace, and progress on our path. Hello, and welcome to a discussion on things learned from talking to Bob Rich. You know, Bob is the first one to discuss past lives and rebirth in a concrete manner. And what I mean by that is in season 1, we discussed living a peaceful life and creating the conditions for a peaceful death with the goal of having a good rebirth. And in that way, we acknowledged rebirth. Now, not all Buddhists believe in rebirth, but for some of us, it is an important part of the teachings, and that rebirth is part of the system of karma and hopefully eventual nirvana. Bob identifies as a secular Buddhist, but the story he shares with us in the most recent episode is based on his realization that being a physicist was not going to allow him to help humanity in a way that was the most meaningful to him. And undergoing hypnosis and learning about 5 of his past lives led him to understand that he had what he calls a karmic requirement to help heal humanity. The primary story of change that he shares with us is about this change from being a physicist. You know, he always thought he was going to be a physicist, so that was one of his changes, a small death. And learning that he is here to help, and that the most meaningful thing for him is to be a healer to others. And this led him to change his path away from the hard science of physics to the path of healing others through therapy. He does mention another small death, and it's the death of a relationship. There was a young lady he met at a wedding, and after a year of dating, he asked her to marry him. And this is when he learned that in a way, she was dating him as an experiment, because she had had this other boyfriend, and they had been quite serious. And right before the wedding where she met Bob, she and this boyfriend had decided to separate and date other people and then see if they came back together. And of course, you know, that was difficult. But Bob doesn't recall any hard feelings towards her, and certainly he doesn't have them now. You know, I asked him if he ever found out what happened with her. Did she marry that boyfriend? And he said no, but that he hoped that she was happy and that, you know, she was a wonderful person. And he realized that probably, you know, she was a musician, and so probably what she needed was to be with another musician. But, you know, again, he doesn't know what happened to her, but he would welcome a discussion with her to this day. But as he examines those 5 past lives, he realizes that there is someone who has been with him for short periods of time in those lives, and that someone was not this young lady at all. But the happy news is that it is his wife. So the woman that he has been with for over 50 years is this woman who he met and had been with in different roles and for different periods of time, mostly shorter though, in his past lives. And the lovely thing is that in this lifetime, they've been able to be together more fully. Now, you know, as a secular Buddhist, Bob appreciates the teachings of the Buddha as a useful philosophy. He also has deep respect for the teachings of Confucius and Jesus and Muhammad. He really appreciates the idea of the mitzvah, this, you know, a practice in Judaism to do a good deed or a mitzvah each day, and to do it for the purposes of doing good, not to be seen, not to report out that you've done good, just to do good things. And he appreciates that practice. He has a book that he's written. Bob has many books, and that comes up in the other episode as well. He has many books. The book I want to touch on right now is his book, Ascending Spiral. And in Ascending Spiral, Bob tells a fictionalized version of his life. And I remember, you know, as he was talking to us and sharing with us about Ascending Spiral, he says, you know, there's some value, there's therapeutic value in writing your life story, and fictionalizing it makes it good because it protects It protects you from being sued. That's one thing he said. But another thing, which I think was really his point, is he could write his life story, but also write in maybe the changes that he would make. Or, we've all had times in our lives where we made a decision, and now, with our perfect hindsight, we can realize that maybe another decision would have served us better. And so in his book, of course, he can do that, right? He can do that. Well, he's here with us now, and he's very much real and very much dedicated to helping humanity. And he does feel that we're on the edge, that we definitely are in a time where we are exhibiting so much self-destructive behavior. And so after, 5 lives and a busy current life, Bob is here to act as a professional grandfather to help right the ship, to help steer us on a different path. Because what he really wants is for those of us who are going to inherit this world, hoping that in his high hopes is that there will be something when he passes for the rest of us to inherit, that it's a future worth surviving, and to have a world that's not ruled by greed and hate, but to be part of a world that is ruled by empathy, compassion, and decency. And he thinks it's possible, absolutely. And I ask him, well, what do you recommend to move us to that place? And he says, let's take on the message of our great prophets. Whether you consider yourself to be an apprentice Buddha or a follower of Jesus, listen to the messages, because the underlying theme from our great teachers is of loving kindness and compassion. You've been listening to the Death Dhamma podcast with your host, Margaret Maloney. Thank you so much for being here. Come find me on margaretmaloney.com, margaretmeloni.com. And until we meet again, may you be well, may you be happy, may you be at ease, and may you be free from suffering. Bye for now.